remind us of, as in Joe Burrow is the next who, Justin Herbert is the next who, Tua Tagovailoa is the next, you get the point. But can you finish the sentence? Speaking of prospects, what is the most important drill for combine running backs? And I've got a hint for you. It's not the 40. And what does the return of Drew Brees mean for the future of Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill? That is coming your way tomorrow, 7 Eastern on NFL Total Access. As for now, we've got an interesting take on the Dak Prescott negotiations to pass along from Cowboys Hall of Fame running back Emmitt Smith, who doesn't think that Prescott should try to get as much money out of the Cowboys as he can. Because, he says, the Cowboys are a marketable organization and because they need money to put players around him. He told Adam Lefkoe of the Lefkoe Show, if you're the face of the franchise, instead of taking $35 million, would you take $28 million and leave some for Amari Cooper and pick up the other money through endorsements? Is that good advice, LT?
I think Emmitt is doing his job for Jerry here. You know, he's probably on the payroll, and so he's doing his job. But I think he has a point, to be honest. I mean, if you look at your teams and Tom Brady, who has done it this way, and the Patriots have been able to put talent around him. That's why he's won 6 Super Bowls. I think that's a very legitimate point that can be made. And we can look at all the graphics and the stats about quarterbacks who make the most money. They teams typically don't make the playoffs. And so it has been proven that if you take less money at the quarterback position, more money is available for the rest of the players.
And I think circumstances are different for different players. And when you look at any player, right, you got a limited opportunity to make as much money as you can in a small window. And that's not even guaranteed because of injury. And I think when Emmitt talks about that, I get it. You're trying to sign more players. But teams get more creative in how to do that. Whether you tag a guy for 1 year, work something out, say this is what we're going to do going into the next year or in the middle of the year while we pay this guy to get him on board. Now, you mentioned Tom. Tom's done that so they can sign other players, but it turned into success, turned into Super Bowls. So that's not necessarily saying that's going to happen in this situation. I will say that as a young quarterback in your prime, why wouldn't you go after as much money as you can? Especially when you've had a lot of production, especially if they're saying you're the franchise guy. There's no question in my mind, as an agent, as a player, you want to take an opportunity. I mean, you want to take advantage of that opportunity and go in and do that.
I mean, how much of this, when we look at it, is Dak trying to hold the Cowboys hostage, which I don't think he is.
No,
he just sees the market and he says, this is my value. Now, I think he falls somewhere between the Russell Wilson and the Carson Wentz numbers. And I think because he's not a Super Bowl champion yet, but he does have a cast around him and he has an opportunity to blossom into one as a quarterback, we're going to see him potentially needing a lot more money down the road. But I think right now, if Dak does what's necessary, he doesn't have to hold anybody hostage, but you should go get your money. You've earned it.
What about the point that Emmitt is making, though, about the Cowboys being a marketable organization, saying, like, is it worth it if you're splitting hairs? Like, if it's, we're going to pay you so much money, you're going to be fine. And yes, you might be able to max this out and for somebody else, but because you're playing here, you can make up that money because you are a Dallas Cowboy, and you're going to have so many money-making opportunities. Emmitt might be saying that from experience.
To a market of a team.
Okay, right, absolutely. There's value to your point. Okay, say he's playing in Dallas. You don't think he can make up $7 million in marketing? If he played in Detroit, then okay, I see him trying to get that extra million.
I get that, but is that guaranteed, LT? Is that guaranteed?
It's not guaranteed, but in Dak's situation, he's already on national commercials. He's already a brand, and so he's going to even make more money with that.
He was at Super Bowl promoting everything.
I love that, but what about the guys that are already making that much money and making that money off the field? You don't have to touch your game checks because you're making that money.
Matthew Stafford on national commercials.
I know, but what I'm saying is that's not his fault that he has the opportunity to do those other opportunities outside of football. I'm not saying I'm going to take a hit because I'm in Dallas and we got the opportunity to probably win down the line, but guess what? We are in Dallas and here's our brand partners and we can go do these side deals. I just don't think that's fair to say it when it comes to Dak. We wasn't saying that about Carson Wentz. We weren't saying that about Kirk Cousins. We weren't saying that about a lot of these quarterbacks that I don't think it's worth the money that they're getting. The market dictates how much money you make, not production in a lot of cases.
Ask you this about Tom Brady, because he has his TB12 facility, right? Attached to Gillette. Yeah. So is there not like I mean, I know that that's not necessarily in the contract and that's not part of his salary, but that's a way that he's kind of getting what he wants that isn't monetary or even is, right? Because it's his brand that's being helped.
But that's something that he started and he promoted and he built in his company on his own without the Patriots. So they didn't give him that. Say, here, here's his space. Just take that.
Yeah, but
you're paying rent.
He's paying rent?
Yeah, he's paying rent.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's different. Yeah, he doesn't own the property.
Okay, so we cleared that up.
I think it's just the tip of the iceberg, what we're seeing with Dak Prescott, and obviously the affinity to have this great marketable quarterback, and Dak checks all the boxes there. And I think if you get him in Dallas and you can put the right pieces around him, we've all been in negotiations where we say, how can we make this work? I'm not holding you hostage. You're not holding me hostage. Let's kind of find a middle ground to surround us with a supporting cast. And that's what they have with the O-line, and they can add a few more pieces to help out Dak, and he can win there. If he wins a Super Bowl, it's over.
I'm just confused why we're only doing this with Dak. We haven't done it with none of these other quarterbacks that's gotten paid.
Absolutely.
We don't have enough time for that.
Dak Prescott's contract, one of the biggest stories we've been following this month, which is